For my passion project, I learned American Sign Language. But why, you ask? Barriers. All of freshman year, I would walk to my locker and see kids signing to each other constantly, and I never knew what they were signing. I didn't pay much attention to it, but then my friend learned ASL and started to interact with these deaf students, and I began to realize that there are barriers between the hearing and the deaf students at PCTI, especially if you didn't know sign language. Also, there was no communication. I saw a variety of times that the deaf students just talked to other deaf students, and when it came to trying to communicate with others, it always involved them typing in their phones. As the topic of my passion project emerged, I knew learning this language was what I wanted to devote myself to do. I needed to take down this barrier between the deaf community and myself, and I achieved that. When I decided to learn ASL, I didn't know where to start. It seemed insane at the time, so I jumped right into it trying to learn as much as possible. But it didn't work out. I found myself trying to remember all the signs I learned and memorizing them, which gave me too much stress. So eventually, I came to the realization that there wasn't a feasible way to learn a language fluently in such a short time. So I focused on learning the basics of ASL. My journey was very much the same. I set aside time every week to learn 10 different signs. Each week it would be a different category of signs, like fruits, colors, or even numbers. I calculated that I learned a total of 230 signs. Then came the fun part. As a final product, I decided to make a video giving the spotlight to the deaf students at our school. Because who wouldn't want some spotlight, right? I had the help of my mentor, Mrs. Martin, who recommended some deaf students that I could interview, and I also had Natron Nicholas, who helped me record the video. The main focus of the video was to learn what these students had gone through because they were deaf. This included their challenges and difficulties at school and at any social environment. In addition to this, I also decided to learn how to sign a song in sign language. I started to look for a song to do, and I came across the Fight Song by Rachel Platten and knew it was perfect. Not only was it compatible with the theme of the video that I was doing, it also said what I wanted to say to the deaf students, which was to fight for their rights and feel heard, for them to also stand up for themselves when bullies came around and fight for themselves and their friends. To complete this part of my final product, I had to add extra time during my week to learn the lyrics of the song and the signs. I used a very helpful website called Sign Savvy where you could search up the sign of any word you desired. I learned to sign the song verbatim and spent an abundant amount of time trying to get my rhythm down. I needed to sign every word simultaneously with each individual lyric at the speed Rachel was singing. This took some time, but I managed to learn it. Even though this may have looked easy, obstacles did appear. Throughout the journey, I began doubting myself. At the beginning, I didn't know whether I was signing certain signs correctly. My hand positions were sometimes not clear, and I had to keep trying to get it right. When I began learning to sign my song, I didn't know if my signs were comprehensible. I had to keep signing in front of my friend Michael, who was hard of hearing, to see if he understood. I certainly do have a passion for American Sign Language. I truly do find it fascinating and plan to take it until I can sign fluently. This is not the end, but only the beginning. This project started something that will perpetuate throughout my life. Not only does this give me the advantage for when I want to apply for jobs, but if there is anyone I could help who is deaf, there wouldn't be a problem anymore. In my heart, I truly feel that for once, the deaf students had a voice in this video and finally were heard by other hearing students and myself.